In this video, I'm cycling 20 miles up and downhill so that I can camp in a wind farm. I'm starting my first ever photographic project on film, doing self-portraits and landscape photography, eating good food, struggling to keep my fire going and watching the stars go by. Come and join me.
Finally, Whitley Visitor Centre.
Arrived in at the visitor centre and I'm having a look at the map. The original location that I was planning on going was the Leigh Alderstocks farm, or the High Alderstocks, but I'm here and it's all the way over here, and I've kind of roughly measured it's probably about 12k, and I'm kind of rethinking that. I don't know if it's best to go by a midpoint like High Overmuir, which is kind of bang in the middle between them. They're the recommended camping spots because there's a lot of peat and marsh anywhere else. So I think I might go for High Overmuir. Maybe even Low Overmuir because that's just down the road. I'm just hoping that there's signage along the way because it's not really something I can put in Google Maps to find. So
I've decided to go for High Overmuir farm, which is about a 6.5k ride from the visitor centre that I just left. That's pretty cool. There's some signage. I know that we're this way. My feet and hands are absolutely frozen. I'm so looking forward to getting those toe warmers on my socks and get some hand warmers later. Even a wee cup of tea, oh, I cannot wait for that. I need to be completely honest with you guys, this is absolutely lovely up here. It's so quiet and peaceful, and near the visitor centre it's quite busy, especially because it's a weekend, but it's just so quiet. It's lovely to just ride around on my bike. Now don't get me wrong, these hills that I'm going down, I'm going to have to climb back up them on my way out here tomorrow, but as long as I'm full of breakfast, full of good sleep, I think I'll be alright. One of the cool things about the Windfarm is that it has about 130 kilometres of roads through the whole Windfarm. You could literally drive about 80 miles through the whole Windfarm just because of the road networks that they've built through it. Too many choices. So to give you a bit of perspective, this is turbine number 13. And all the way out there, my bike fell, all the way out there, right at the tip of my finger, is where the visitor centre is. We're quite far. I've had issues with the back gear changer on my bike for quite some time actually. It's not just came up now, but it's affecting me now more than ever because when I've got these steep inclines that I'm having to climb up, I'm not able to put my bike in the lower gears, so it's stuck in the harder second set of gears. So I'm up in those high gears and I can't really climb up these hills slowly, which is a real bummer because that's what mountain bikes are usually quite good for. And I'm not able to do that, so I've just been taking it slow and just climbing up these small inclines when I get to them. I'll be there soon, hopefully. I think I'm just about at High Overmuir. I'm not going to enjoy climbing the hills that I'm going down right now tomorrow, I can tell you that with confidence, but maybe there's another route back to the visitor centre that's easier. I just can't really tell from the pictures on my phone and the map that was at the visitor centre how easy it is to climb those hills. I didn't know they were this steep, to be honest. There is a map right here actually. Ah, there we go, High Overmuir. No unauthorised entry. I'm not sure where High Overmuir is, other than in there. Let's see. See what this says. If I'm not wrong, I've just came down to Low Overmuir and it doesn't look too great for camping ground, but I think I've taken the sign on High Overmuir Farm wrong. I think you are allowed to camp there. They're just specifying that you're not allowed to go inside the buildings or too close to them because they're dangerous, and also birds refuge in there, so it's illegal to disturb them during breeding season. Heading back to High Overmuir, and I'm going to have a look around for ideal campground. They state that you should be able to get 3 tents at High Overmuir, so I'm assuming it's one little spot that will fit my tent nicely. High Overmuir. Let's hope this is a little bit more promising and not too terrifying. There we go. I've left the bike up there and I'm trying to look around High Overmuir for a camping site, and the ground just looks far too boggy. There's obviously a spot that is suitable for tents that can fit 3 of them, but I'm not sure how I'm going to find that in all of this. I'm going to try the gate round the corner that I passed at that peak point where the trees are and have a look up there. I feel like it might be up there for some reason, because this just looks all sloped and bumpy and boggy more than anything. There is a berm here though, which is good to know. This seems okay for a distance, just don't know what it looks like up close. This is bumpy, sinks in a little bit. I could see there is a good spot. I'm just going to get a nosy right here. I don't really see this being a viable area, but see, it seems like all the water's just gathering down here. Right here? No. Yeah. Okay. The best ground that I've seen so far has been right over here. Let me show you. I just ran through the bog and now my shoe is absolutely soaking. I'm gonna have to dry that out. So this seemed like the best spot up here, right in beside the gate, right here. I'm contemplating either that right here or nowhere else really. After I went back to High Overmere, I decided that the spots up there were pretty bad. I don't really think, from what I could see anyway, it's good camping ground. And I came back down to Low Overmere a second time and I found this little spot. It's quite bumpy, but it's not sloped from what I can tell. It seems like a nice wee bit of ground. It seems like there's a tiny bit of a slope, but I don't feel like it's major. I don't feel like I'm gonna wake up on the wrong side of the tent, so I'm gonna get the tent out after I flatten the ground just with my feet a little bit, try and get it comfortable, and then hopefully I can actually get a seat, because I have been moving for about 6 hours now. Right, I'll see you then. So I was just starting to flatten the ground and I was about to put the tent up and the sun's just come out through the clouds, and I've maybe got a couple of minutes of sunlight before this goes away, and I don't have the lovely shadows and the blade of the windmill coming over. I really need to get some shots of this. Oh, that's not good. I've broke one of the perforations on my film. That's not good. So my shots are going to be logging behind a little bit. Right, I'm very happy with that. And one more. Lovely. That's me shot around 12-13 shots, so that's not bad. I've got enough if I want to shoot some long exposures tonight if we get any clear skies, which I doubt we will, but I can also shoot this rope tomorrow because I have a great idea for a wide angled self-portrait at one of the bottoms of the windmills. I'm really looking forward to doing that one. Anyway, I need to get my camp set up because it's getting dark. I don't have long left with the rest of the sunlight, so let's get this sorted. So that's the shelter for the night, all built. The one thing with this tent is it's not incredibly spacious in terms of headroom. It's a 2-person tent. In fact, it's the Mountain Warehouse Backpacker 2. It is quite a good tent. It's a mummy style tent or a coffin style, but generally speaking it's quite light because it's 2 kilo. As far as I'm aware it's a 3 season to 2 season tent. The waterproof hydrostatic rating on it isn't amazing, but for what it is and the money that I got it for about 60 or 70 pounds. All the times that I've used it, it's been really quite nice. Again, the only downside is headroom when you're sat up in it. You'll see. Let's get my bed set up though. I'd really want to take a seat. I think I might actually do that outside. I'll get my bed set up inside. I'll put the tarp on the ground, and then I can put my little foam mat on the ground and I can get a wee seat, and I might actually be able to start my dinner. I know it's early, it's 25 to 5, but I do fancy some salmon. I don't know. I might have some dates and fig rolls first. I'll decide. I've got all the tent organised and my snacks. I've got my stuff for dinner. I've got my bed ready. I've got water ready. I've got my med kit out. Just everything organised to make it as comfortable as possible. And the time is 5:10, so I think it would be a good idea to make dinner. I think it's the best choice because it's just now getting dark, and I think the sooner I get it over with, I'll be fuller, happier, and I can chill out. I think I'm gonna get my salmon and my rice made, and an odd combination. The only sauce I've got is honey. I was gonna bring sweet chilli, but I wanted to bring the honey for what I'm having maybe tonight, but maybe for breakfast tomorrow as well. A little surprise, a wee treat. I'll show you that later, but for now I need to get my fire logs cut up for my little stove. It's just a little foldable stove that I can kind of prop up, and there's a little shelf in it, so I've got these to actually sustain the fire and cook my food with. I'm not sure how long one of these lasts. I'm guessing maybe about 45 minutes, an hour maybe. I'm gonna dig a little fire pit because there's dead grass around me and I don't want that to go on fire. But before I do that, just while it's light so I can see best, I'm gonna chop these up so they'll actually fit into the little burner, because it's only about half the size of one of these, or it can fit half of one of these I think. So I'll get to cutting these and then I'll dig a little fire pit, make sure that the soil's wet and level and that there's no dead grass nearby. I thought it was going to be a little bit difficult to cut these. Just watch this. Surprisingly easy. So I have to be honest with you, I have been cooking this salmon for like 2 hours, or I tried to get the fire started and it took me a whole hour. I got it started at first and then it went out and I had to use a different method. So I used my little tin can that's in the bottom that has toilet roll, brown rolls and candle wax in it. I melted the wax, poured it over it, and it's something that is just a wee portable stove that you can use, and I've managed to use my logs as well, so it's taken me quite a while, but I'm not getting food poison, I refuse. So I'm cooking this until it's dehydrated. So I've got a wee cup of tea heating up, I've got my rice in here and some water, and I'm going to try and boil that. I need to make a windbreak though, because I'm having too many embers coming off of the fire, and the last thing I need is for one to get carried miles and set a fire, so I'm going to try and build a little makeshift windbreak. Right, let's try the salmon and honey.
I know it's an odd combination, but oh my god. I don't know if it's because I've barely ate anything today, but that's so much better than I thought it would be. Also the fact that I've been staring at it for about an hour and a half, that's probably part of the reason. Anyway, I'm gonna destroy this and the rice. I don't know if it's working, but I'll soon find out. Got my little fire dying down. I had a wee cup of tea without milk. I had 2 sugars and a wee bit of dark chocolate in it, and it was actually quite nice. Most important thing though, I don't care about the taste. It was the best thing I've drank all day, but it hit me up. That was the most important thing. And these little hot hands hand warmers have been brilliant. I've just kept it in my hand and you shake it when it gets cold. I've been trying to dry these out also. I can't go to bed without my shoes being dry, because if they're not dry I'm going to be miserable tomorrow. I'm trying my best, and one of the things that I'm trying is putting it on the axe handle and it'll maybe take the heat, but soles I'm just going to stick in the bottom of my sleeping bag and they can dry with the heat of my body. And also at the exact same time I was thinking, when I put these coals out I might just store them in the pot or one of the plates and cover it and keep it for the morning, particularly the pot because the lid will stay stable on it. But if I keep them going and they stay lit overnight, I can use them in the morning, because I think my main fuel supply is not going to work, that being the wee tin can. I think I've ran that completely dry. The rock that I've sat this little stove on is going to be roasting, because it's just going to have absorbed all of the heat from the stove and the fire. So I think that's going to be a good idea to take that, give it a wee wipe and put it in my sleeping bag as a hot water bottle. I've went ahead and sat some rocks right on top of the grate on my little stove just to heat them up. Rocks are really good at storing heat, so my thinking behind that was if I heat them up I can stick them in my shoes and dry them out quicker. They also make a great sleeping bag warmer. But I've had an even better idea as a fire starter tomorrow. Instead of keeping the coals in a pot and maybe destroying the pot, I'm going to set the pot on top of the fire and stick some of my fuel that I'll be using tomorrow in the pot. I'm going to stick this whole log, or half of it, this one right here, in the pot. I think it's actually breaking in half now. Oh, perfect. I'm going to stick that in there and turn that to charcoal, because charcoal's a great fire starter. Now the way that I can turn that into charcoal is just by letting it cook. Ideally I would be able to let the gases of the charcoal burn, so I would maybe use a tin and set it over the top and pierce a hole in the tin, but I don't have one other than the food that I'm eating in the morning, so I'm just going to set this on top and try and char it until it's turned into charcoal essentially. So I haven't managed to make charcoals, but intentionally at least, but I've managed to unintentionally char the whole of that can, so that can be used to start a fire tomorrow. These white hot coals, I'm actually going to bring them out and douse them in water, because I don't want the plastic handles of the pot melting. I'll put them in there. And I'm just going to pour water all over that and then empty it. I'm just going to leave that rock as well. leave that upside down. That rock's actually not too hot, so I thought I'd be able to use that to like stick in the sleeping bag and keep me warm, but right. Time for me to get in the tent, get warm and ready for bed. Let's see if these shoes have dried first. The shoes are partially dry, not fully. This is a hot rock that's roasting, so I'm going to take that in with me. It's me in the tent. I've got the bike covered with my tarp and I've brought in all my rubbish and bagged that and stuff. Give you a wee better look. There we go. Brought everything in. That's me sorted. I cannot wait for how toasty this sleeping bag is though, and I'm gonna get my nice toasty PJs on and that'll be me. That hot rock was lovely and my finger's starting to hurt because I burnt it. Right, I'm going to put the camera up. I'll see you guys in the morning. Good morning. It's 10 to 8. I slept quite well. The sleeping bag is still quite damp. Last night it was quite wet and the inside of the tent is soaked just with condensation from my breath, and also it was really humid last night and there was a little bit of rain. Man, I feel like a bear that's woke up for hibernation. I stayed comfortably warm last night though, regardless of all of the wetness, which was good. I also stuck my electronics like my phone and my battery pack and stuff in my sleeping bag, just so that the cold wouldn't take down the battery quicker. Oh, these are freezing. Oh my god. I need to get them in there now. Oh. Yeah, they're cold. Let's get them nice and het up. Oh, those trousers are sucking the heat out of me. If I could, I would make my breakfast from bed, but I'm not sure I can do that. The bottom of the sleeping bag in particular has held so much heat, and I'm very, very confident that the soles of my shoes that I stuck in there last night are gonna be nice and dry. Oh, it's cold out here. Oh wow, okay. And my shoes are drier than they were, but they're still a little bit wet. They might just be cold, I'm not entirely sure, but they seem like they're still a little bit wet. The good thing about the barefoot shoes that I've got is when they are wet at home they dry really quickly. They would probably dry very quick if I had a fire going, like a campfire. It's a different story when it's a little stove, I think, but oh man. Oh, the windmills are beautiful. I'm curious to see how my coals have survived in here, the charcoal. The grass is actually quite dry here, I think for my body heat and the heat in the tent. It's kept the ground quite dry. I'm going to get my waterproof trousers on so I can actually kneel on the ground without getting my trousers wet. I've got 2 pairs of trousers on, shorts and these over trousers. Oh, I'm really warm now. I really want to try and get a hot meal this morning, so I'm going to do my best to get a fire made. Let's get a wee seating area sorted and then I'll get my stuff ready to get this stove on. The little surprise that I was talking about last night was bread dough. I really want to try and make this today. I'm worried that I'm not going to be able to with the amount of fuel I've got, because I've got Ah, and there was a hole in that bag. Oh no. I've only got about half a log left, so the beans should cook quickly, but I'd really want to try and make this. With the amount of wood that I have, or fire logs, I don't really feel like I've got enough to do what I want to make my breakfast and maybe have some bread, so, and I really feel like I need the calories. I do have a lot of snacks is the thing. I've got loads of like dates, I've been eating fig rolls and I've got stuff, but I feel like the bread would just be nice, so I'm going to try and look for some tinder, like even this stuff, the dry stuff that's standing behind me. I don't know how well that'll burn. And I've got a couple of cotton balls left and I'll use them really sparingly, and I'll gather some of this stuff and see if this can help me keep the fire going a little longer. But I'm going to try and gather a huge pile because I'll need a lot of that if I want it to keep burning. So managed to get all that done, so all I want to do today that I wish I had done last night was make a little windbreak for the fire. Just up the path there's a little like pile of rocks. I'm just going to get a bag, go and grab a bunch of them, and I'll build a little windbreak. I was just thinking about the little windbreak, and before I left I thought I could maybe just get a fresh tree branch and I could turn it into a stake of some sorts, just with my axe, just shave it into a stake, stick it into the ground, and I can run one of my tent guy lines over to that, and then maybe hang some waterproof bags or something like that over it, so that it's an artificial windbreak rather than some stones. I'm going to give it a little go, and if it doesn't work, it's fine. That's pretty decent if I don't say so myself. Now I need to try it. Right there. Oh. As cool as this idea is, I don't think it's going to work. I think I'm just better to get the rocks. That's the wall all done. It's quite decent. I don't know how well it's going to trap the wind, but it feels like whenever I'm sat right here and I put my hand there, there's not really much wind getting to the stove, which is brilliant. I also just had a runner come by, and he said that he came by about an hour ago and he was trying to be dead quiet. I was obviously still in my bed and he was very nice. He was really nice. Right, so to start my fire, these Vaseline cotton balls burn great, and this is kind of the same thing except it just has a horrible smell. So this is just the dust and hair and stool that comes out of your dryer, and it's good at starting fires. It has a really bad smell to it, and if you mix it with Vaseline it burns really well. So I'm going to try and mix all of this with one Vaseline cotton ball, and it might give me more of a chance to get my fire started, because I really want to try and save these as much as I can. I've broken down the fire log a little bit so I can put little bits in first and it'll burn on top of the charcoal tin can, which is also a good fire starter, and that can maybe get me my fire going without any issues. There's the lint there.
go away and this doesn't work, I don't have a fire. Got it going. There we go. Nah, it's went out. Right, next cotton ball then. Right, I think we've got it started, so I'm going to try and get as much fuel as I can lit confidently before I fully start cooking. Those twigs came in quite handy, although I don't think I needed as many. I'm very glad I got that many, but oh, they're actually cooking. Mate, they're warm. No, they're not. They're stone cold. They look warm. They're actually heating up. This is amazing. I know they're sat on a fire and obviously they'll heat up, but this is just cool. So leave me alone, don't. This is fun. I feel very happy. What I'm going to do when I actually have the beans is I'm going to take them off by just tipping them into a wee plate, because obviously the can's going to be really hot. Lukewarm beans. Yay! I think I'm just going to eat these as they're cooking. That way I've got a better chance of getting bread on and made. Oh my god. That is the best thing ever. It's 10:30 right now. I got up 2.5 hours ago. The beans are roasting hot. Lovely. I really want to get this on. Although I don't know how overwhelming it's going to be to touch the dough and not be able to wash my hands. And do you know what I'm having on this bread? I'm having honey. I can't wait. I literally don't have a clue what I'm doing. It was yeast, bread flour and water, and it was left to rise since yesterday morning. Actually about 24 hours ago it was left to rise. Oh, this is overwhelming.
Ah, the fires went out. I need to get some more wood on that then. I'm gonna try and make like a few little flatbreads. The dough's, oh my god, it's sticky. It doesn't actually stick too much to my fingers. It's a lot less than I thought it would, honestly. I thought it would have been a lot like worse. It's just like, it leaves a little bit of residue and then it dries on your fingers, so it's not like it stays wet. Oh, it's actually cooking quite well. One thing that's new is I've got this like nerve pain that I keep having down from my knee to the bridge of my foot that I've never really had before. I think I've maybe overworked myself a little bit, which would make sense. I'm sure I'll be alright, it just occasionally happens, but that one's looking quite good. See, these little fire logs that I've been using for the stove burn really quite hot and for a long time. They're just not really viable to take if you're hiking. The only reason I could take them is because of my bike. A lot of the stuff that I have brought I would love to take if I was able to just go without my bike, but half of the reason that I'm able to even take the stuff that I've got with me is because of my bike. I think I had about 10 kilo on the pannier rack on my bike, and for one, that couldn't have fit in my backpack, and for two, I already had quite a lot of weight in my back. It's one of those things why it's tricky, because the Scottish Outdoor Access Codes, you're not allowed to cut dead trees, or you're supposed to avoid doing it as much as you can. And there's only so much that you can do in certain cases, but you know, I'd like to try it every turn I can to try and bring things to cook with rather than cut down dead trees, but I've had to do that before and you're not doing terrible damage to the environment, but if everybody does it, it does become bad damage to the environment, you know. These little breads are turning out, I think, quite good. Ow. Oh, my eyes. I'm really glad that I made the dough. I hope they fully cook, because they are quite fat. Look at them. Little fat things. They look, one of them looks like a croissant. I think this one's going to be cooked. I think they might both be cooked. I'm not too sure, but I'm going to try and keep cooking that one. And I've got honey, and then I do have butter as well, so I'm going to melt that. This looks good. Chuck some butter on that. And I'll get my honey out. I hope it's cooked. The honey is so cold that it's thickened. There we go. There we go. That's how thick the honey is. Pan fried bread with honey and butter. Oh, that's so good. Oh my god. I think this is the best thing I've eaten so far in the whole trip. It's a little bit doughy, but I do not mind. I'm gonna get some water on for a cup of tea. I think I've only got 1 litre of water left. No, I don't. I've got 2 litres. 2 litres definitely. And the honey. Oh. And my butter. That was the best thing I've eaten, by far. I'm gonna make a cup of tea and then I'm gonna start getting the stove put away and thinking about get going. I was just packing up and I keep feeling my eyes just getting pulled towards the windmills. I'm gonna get the film camera out and do some shots. So because of yesterday's issues with the gears, I've put some WD-40 on the back gear wheel, the front gear wheel and the derailleurs, and I'm going to try and get it working now before I've got too much weight on my bike. not looked at my hair since yesterday morning, so I don't have a clue what I look like. And I can imagine I have the worst bed and hat head in the world. I've got a little stop I want to go to before I go to the visitor centre and cycle home. Not too far from here. It's one of the windmills round the corner. Oh, this is heavy. Well, it's been a good camp spot, good views, and I most definitely might come back here. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it's just round this corner that I can get access to this windmill. This is going to be my only stop between camp and the visitor centre, because I want to get some more self-portraits, some wide angle ones of me in the windmill. I think that'd be great. This one. There we go. I'm gonna get set up and get a couple of shots. That's that roll done. Right there, 36 shots. Done. I'm looking forward to developing it. The last time I came to the Windfarm was quite a few years ago with some family, and one of the people that I went with passed away last year. It's been quite tough this past year, and I think I've had many ups and many downs, and I find myself getting quite emotional when I'm doing things that I'm proud of, and things that I really admire that I'm doing, and this is one of them. Every time I press the shutter button, it never gets old, both on film and digital. It's just a privilege that I get to do it, and to have the bursary to develop the film in my own home. I'm really lucky. Anyway. Something that I can't quite convey to you is the absolute size of these windmills. If you've never stood at the bottom of one, it's really weird. It's quite terrifying, but they're really just amazing. If I'm not mistaken, at their peak, when their blade is at its highest point, from the ground to the very top, they're 110 metres tall. They're huge, they're so big, but it's hard to comprehend when you're stood under them. They look like they're a mile big, they're not, but they're just big. Just listen to that. So instead of going up there to the visitors centre, I've decided to just take the path out to the public road, because up at the visitor centre the road becomes a one lane passing system, so cars can go up and down it on the left and right hand side, but the issue is it's about the size of just barely 2 lanes. There's 2 tiny lanes at each side for cyclists to go on, and that's about it. So I'm not really willing to go down there. I was contemplating on going down the hill because it could have gave me a good boost, because it is quite steep, but I'm not really willing to put myself in that situation because it's just slightly more dangerous than me going the slow route. This is where I'm going to be turning off. Right, I'm going to put the camera down. I'll see you when I'm at the house in about 2 hours, probably. I'm going to be so tired. Bye bye. I made it back in about 2 hours, and to say I'm knackered is an understatement. If you like this video, thanks for watching. If you want to see more videos like this, leave a like, comment and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.